1076 DM, and it looks like we're still waiting for the defendant to connect here. If she doesn't connect here shortly, I'll have my staff give her a call. But while we're waiting, I'll have counsel state their appearances for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jeff Perlman on behalf of Mohammed Al-Shalay.
Good morning, Your Honor. Simon Khalil on behalf of the defendant, Ashley Al-Shalay, but she's now known as Ashley Margosian.
All right, it looks like she's connected now.
Good morning.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you hear us okay now?
I can.
All right, and just so you know, I'm referee Brian Nicholas with the Macomb County Family Court. While waiting for your audio, the attorneys are both here and stated their appearances. And ma'am, your name for the record?
Ashley Margosian.
All right, and sir, your name for the record?
Mohammed Al-Shalay.
Okay, and we're here today on plaintiff's request to modify the parenting time to supervised due to abuse, neglect, and dangerous conditions. Guys, that's the title of the motion. And counsel, you're welcome to proceed with plaintiff's motion.
Thank you. Just to give the court a little background, the parties do share custody of their son. There was a consent judgment in this matter a few months back. Since the entry of this consent order, there's been a significant change of circumstances, including mother has not exercised any of her parenting time with the minor child. On or about July 24th, 2023, the mother contacted the child regarding establishing a relationship with Mr. Jacob Broadus, despite the consent specifically indicating that no contact or involvement shall occur between the two. That is between Jacob Broadus and the child and the minor child. During that same conversation, mother berated and called the minor child racial slurs. My client filed a police report with Sterling Heights Police Department. Another incident on July 29th, 2023, the boyfriend, again, Jacob Broadus, was arrested for domestic violence and unlawfully driving away. The trial is currently scheduled in that matter. At the time of that motion, it was actually scheduled for today. Recently, the mother was arrested for attempting to enter my client's home without permission. I have the case number in my motion. Detectives from the Sterling Heights Police Department have informed my client that the defendant is in the process of being charged criminally in that matter. Further, my client, defendant mother has an exhaustive history of violence in her own home, leading to multiple CPS and criminal cases, which detailed abuse and neglectful behavior, and resulted in the following recommendations. CPS advised my client to keep the child at his home due to the overwhelming safety concerns. The defendant mother's boyfriend, Jacob Broadus, was on tether in March with alcohol monitoring and charged with child abuse. In March 2023, Mr. Broadus had flipped the mattress over, which resulted in the minor child while the child was on the mattress, which resulted in the minor child hitting his head on the wall. The mother was also has a history of mental health ailments, has been hospitalized for those issues numerous times during the child's parenting time. The CPS has previously removed the minor child from defendant's care and placed in my client's care. CPS in the past has urged my client to seek immediate emergency relief from this court for the minor child's safety and well-being. The child currently lives with my client in a safe home with his parents in Utica, which is located within the gated community and is only several miles from my client or from the defendant mother's apartment. Further, the child has his own bed to sleep in at the plaintiff's at my client's home, and the child is extremely close to not only my client but his paternal grandparents. Finally, my client is gainfully employed as a service manager at an area auto repair center and has always maintained an extremely close bond with his son. Clearly, my client is able and willing to parent for the child and contribute meaningfully to the child's health, safety, and well-being, as outlined, as I've outlined. This court, again, the capacity and disposition of the parties and the court, according to the Child Custody Act, which provides that custody and parenting time shall be granted in accordance with the best interests of the children. The court should look at the 12 best interest factors, and I think based on the information provided and the consistent safety concerns with mother, and the fact that she's continued to engage in a relationship with Jacob Brodus, who there's a consent order that the child not be in his presence, and she's encouraged this. Subsequent to that, she's encouraged the child to essentially make amends with Mr. Brodus.
Okay. Well, let me ask this: in your motion, you indicate that she's currently charged with DV against Mr. El Chalet and the minor child. Is that in regards to this incident, this alleged breaking and entering incident, or is that a different occurrence?
That's relating to that incident. She's currently. They are in the process of investigating it. They have not established. They've not closed the matter and have not are in the process.
So there's no pending DV charges against defendant regarding Mr. El Chalet or the child. There's an investigation, but there's no child.
Correct.
She hasn't been charged, arraigned, or anything like that.
Not at this time that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. And Mr. El Chalet, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, sir. Is what you're about to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes or no?
Yes, Your Honor.
So tell me about this incident in July where your attorney alleges she's getting charged with breaking, entering DV against you and your son.
So, Your Honor, she came, first she started texting me, crazy messages. It's all on app close. And I told her, I said, hey, our son is scared to be with you. He doesn't want to go to you. He talked to you. He told you he wants nothing to do with you. He's scared because you keep telling him Jacob will be around you. You need to talk to Jacob. Also, her mother and her husband assaulted my son. There was an investigation launched in Brandon Township. She came over. I told her, do not come to our premises, private property. You're not welcome over. If you have any issues, go to front of the court. At the time, she kept coming over. Before that, she would come over and see our son for 2-3 hours. She would sit with us. And when she tells our son, let's go, he's scared of it for his life. He tells her, I'm not going with you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. I don't want to go with you. Going forward, I told her, hey, I filed an emergency. You keep pushing Jacob on our son. This guy is a criminal. He's a threat to our son. And obviously, our son does not want to be around him. And I'm filing a motion. She got irate. She sent me a couple.
So tell me. Oh, okay. And tell me how she got to your house and what happened.
So she got irate, sir, Your Honor, and she sent me 2 pictures of my garage. And she said, I'm here. I want to get my son. My son called her. He said, I'm not going with you. I'll go with you. I'll call the cops. So she went and called the cops. The cops told her it's a front of the court matter. Have a nice day. The next day at 5:03, all I heard was my door, like a big boom. My mother was sitting in the kitchen floor. She was grinding meat. And Ashley, I can hear her screaming. I turned on my camera immediately on my phone, video and audio. And I told her, hey, what are you doing here? I told you not welcome here. Get out of our house. And she started screaming. And she went to my son. She started grabbing him, telling him, let's go. He told her, I'm not going with you. Started pushing him around, grabbed him, picked him up, started yanking at him. He still refused to go with her. And then she pushed me, ran into my son's bedroom, started grabbing his backpacks. And then she came back to me and my son. She said, let's go, let's go. My son telling her, no, I'm not going with you. And then she screamed at him, told him, why did you file a police report on my mother? Why did you file a police report on my mother? And then my son told her, she hit me, her and her husband. And then she said, let's go. And my son told her, I'm not going with you. And it's all on video and audio, Your Honor. The police
So
officer
how did she end up in the house? She just opened the front door and came in?
No,
or how
the
did,
front
or you let
door
her
had
in?
we have a garage door. The garage was open, and then you have that door that leads into the home. That door,
Right.
we always lock it because my father, he has breathing issues and he has oxygen
Okay.
tanks. So we leave that screen door locked, and then me and my mom would go out shopping or something, but we'll leave that door open with the window door open so
Okay.
airflow can go through the house.
Okay, all
So
right.
she went right through that door.
So she ripped through the locked screen door and then the other door was open. Is what
Correct.
you're alleging.
Yep. So that door, yeah, the
So
window.
she came through the open garage, went through the door, did not ask to come into the house. She just came in. And that's how
Came
she
in,
started
started
yelling
screaming.
at you guys.
Correct.
At
And it's
you
all on
guys.
video and audio, Your Honor. It's 6
Okay.
minutes long. Then I told her,
When do you allege that she did something abusive to you?
at that incident, she kept pushing me and kept hitting my hand away and striking at me. Then the cops came. I called for the cops. She said, call them. I don't care. The cops came. They were on body cam. They said, we're going to arrest her. And I showed them the video. When they seen the video, the officer said, Officer Dakota said, we're on our way to arrest her. We made contact with her. Dispatch made contact with her, and then they made contact with the officers in my home. When they were on their way to go arrest her, I wrote my statement, and that was the end of that.
Okay.
And
So let me ask this: have you guys had several incidents regarding police? So do they know you guys?
They know her more than me. She calls them as a tool. She has weaponized the police department for welfare checks, excessive welfare checks. The police department.
What have they done to you that they're weaponized? What have they done adversely to you that's unjust?
They haven't done anything to me. She would call them all the time and do a welfare call. After that, the Captain Hopper, she got aggravated with all these welfare calls. She told me that they will not be out to my parents' home and harass us anymore, and they have not been out yet. Furthermore,
so just a sec. So you live with your mom and dad?
Correct. So
did she ever live there? Was that your residence when you guys were together? Or no,
we were only together 8.5 years ago for like maybe 6 months.
Okay, and your son is currently 8, and your son is
8? He's turning 9. He's turning 9.
And your May 2023 order is week on, week off. Is that correct?
Correct. Following that, Your Honor,
okay, go ahead.
I filed for a PPO. Judge Rancilio granted it the following day and listed her as a threat to my child and me as a threat as well, and her as a threat to me. And she got served with the PPO, and I haven't heard from her then.
So you're alleging that both she's abusive and your son's grandparents are abusive. Her parents are abusive as well.
Correct. My son notified me of these incidents, and these incidents were taken to Detective Nabosny.
So what do you allege? So how do you allege his grandparents abused him?
My son notified me that Ashley Margosian's mother, my son's grandmother. My son was playing baseball in the backyard. He accidentally threw the baseball at his great grandfather's head, and her husband, known to have drinking issues, took my son in the kitchen with the grandma. The grandma held my son down while her husband was striking my son on his back and buttocks area. So when my son told me about this, I immediately text Regina, and I said, "In what God-given earth do you have the right to lay hands on my son?" Following that, Ashley, my son's mother, got irritated, called her mother and told her, "You guys have no rights laying hands on our son." And the mother texted me back saying, "Call it what you want to call it. Go file a police report."
So when do you allege that occurred?
Well, we already took care of that with the care visit. My son alleged that took place about a year ago. So the care visit took place.
Okay, so you're talking, and when did this was well before the May 2023 order, correct?
Correct.
You already knew about that in May of 2023 when you did the consent order for joint legal and physical.
No, I didn't know about that. That was going forward.
You just found out about it?
Going forward, my son let me know about that when we were driving from McDonald's. He just opened up and decided to tell me.
Okay, so it sounds like all the families are involved in your guys' dynamic, extended, at least grandparents. Would that be a correct statement?
More my grandparents than her mom, and because her new
Okay.
husband doesn't want to get involved with the. Her
Okay.
mom doesn't want nothing to do with her. She's left her homeless on many occasions. When I left her, she left her in shelters. My
But
son has
isn't
been
this,
around-
isn't this the grandparent you just said assisted in abusing your son?
Correct. She's left her in shelter. She's never
Okay.
been there for her as far as she wanted
Okay,
to
so you're
adopt her
saying
daughter.
she's, okay, I heard, okay.
She wants to
So
adopt
Ms.
her daughter
Khalil,
from her.
okay.
And
Well,
her mom
does
has
the
called
woman
CPS.
so the woman who abused your son wanted to adopt your son?
No, not my son. Her daughter Hannah. She presented documents to her to adopt
Okay,
her,
all right, okay,
and
all
actually
right,
told me about it, and I told her to decline that option.
okay. All right.
Furthermore,
So that we're good. Ms. Khalil, your response to everything?
Thank you, Your Honor. The little bit of background I want the court to know is I have known this family back when this divorce was filed. This is back when I worked at Legal Aid. This is back in 2016. There couldn't be a family that the police department and Child Protective Services knows more than this entire family, including maternal and paternal grandparents. There's just an extensive, long history of abuse between, in this case. There have been removals from mom, there have been removals from dad, and then ultimately dad went to prison. He spent 4 years in prison, and I don't know.
For what? For
He
what?
went to prison because he threatened Judge Biernat Sr. at the time and Judge Kathy George at the time, who had both presided over the divorce proceedings for the parties in this case. Mr. Al-Shalay has absconded with the child. I
don't mean to do this, but I'm gonna.
No, this is my
I'm gonna-
time to talk. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
but I'm gonna
talking.
object that
This
we're
is the same
talking about the
background that
change
I-
of circumstances that has occurred since the last.
But guys, stop. But Mr. Perlman, you talked about times before May of 2023 and a history of her history. So I'm going to allow it. So guys, it's my first time meeting you. This just got reassigned. I'm the new rep. So I'm going to allow counsels to give me background on this case to assist me in deciding who the credibility or where this whole situation got here. So go ahead, Ms. Khalil, you can continue.
There have been, so pre-divorce judgment, there were ex parte orders, multiple ex parte orders entered because Mr. Al-Shalay would repeatedly take off with the child. And my first question before the court would be, I want to know where the child is right now. I don't care that he says he's living in a gated community in Utica. My client hasn't seen her child, for which there's a court order that allows her to see the child. And he doesn't get to make that decision to stop mom from seeing that child. He has zero authority. And when he doesn't allow mom to see the child, he's in direct violation of the child's best interest. I would also tell the court, my client's mother is a detective I believe she's with the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. She might be partly retired. She has been heavily involved in this child's life. She has helped both of these parents when there have been these deep disagreements. She knows this child just as much as the parents do.
So you don't think she participated in
No.
paddling or striking the child because she thought he threw a ball at his great grandpa? Would it be the great grandpa's?
correct,
That could have hit him. Is that who we're talking about? Okay.
correct.
It's just not believable. And I would also say that the paternal grandparents have been heavily involved because both sets of grandparents have participated in supervising this child when it was ordered by the court or somehow to help work through whatever the issue was at the time. So my client, just as Mr. Shalay would, my client has a very long history with her in-laws, and Mr. Al-Shalay has a very long history with his in-laws, specifically Regina, the maternal grandmother. And, he's making these allegations today that Regina makes racial slurs or whatever. Muhammad's no saint, okay? He comes to this court with the most uncleanest of hands.
But let me ask this, counsel, for argument's purposes. What if he's learned his lesson and she hasn't? For argument's purposes, what if all of this court and everything has gotten his attention? He's adjusted how he acts and behaves, but she's still acting inappropriately. What if that's the scenario?
I guess my
Is Ms.
response,
Margosian, does she deny these incidents in July?
I
He's
think I
saying
gave the
CPS has
court,
said, don't let her near the child, and does she deny all of this?
she hasn't, since the Mr. Brodius has been charged, she's not had contact with him except like they've separated. They're not living in the same household. I attached an exhibit. So this is how Mr. Al-Shalay operates. He will call the police, get a police report, file something. The only thing he has right now is a PPO, which my client has contested and has a hearing on. There's no criminal charges pending against Miss Margosian, which is why
Is
she herself.
is it possible that they could be? He's saying she's under investigation currently by a detective.
I gave the court the email from the detective. I mean, that's all I can give the court,
Okay.
which says that they're
Well,
not.
so let me ask this, and I don't mean to interrupt your flow of your argument, but so you say the last time she saw Mr. Brodus was July,
It would have
which
been.
would infer she was back with him and not exercising parenting time in lieu of spending time with her boyfriend, who then got in trouble again and ends up getting picked up in July, which is when all this happened. Is that what happened?
No, with the July incident, I'm saying she had one contact after the alleged incident of her allegation of home invasion, because she needed help for someone to watch the child she has with him. That was the only reason why. When this court ordered that Ashley not have contact, not that their child, Maher, not have any contact with Mr. Brodius, Ashley complied with that order. She complied with that order. But her own situation, she recognizes the issues she had with Mr. Brodius, and knowing what's going on between them two have separated. They're not living in the same household, and they have separated.
When did they separate?
And I actually, do you know the exact date of that? Because she was
Ms. Martin, and ma'am, I'm going to swear you in just like it did Mr. Ashley. Ms. Bargosian, is what you're about to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, yes or no?
Yes.
So when's the last time you were with Mr. Brodius? When did you split up for good the last time? Was it July?
July. Because
okay, yeah. So which means that your order was entered in May for week on, week off, that he's to have no contact with your child, but you stayed with him, correct?
we have 2 kids together. We have a 1.5-year-old and an 8-month. So we do co-parent and we do see each other. We have seen each other in the past, but due to recent events, especially what happened in July, he has a drinking problem that he refuses to get under.
And is the July incident resulted in a second DV against him? And did it involve you as a victim?
The July incident was him coming over to see the kids that we have together, and he was He had came over after he was drinking. I asked him.
Okay, but what? How did he catch a domestic violence charge? Drinking does not get you a DV charge.
It was over text that he sent me. He didn't put his hands on me. If I were to.
What did he say? What did he say? What did he say?
Not so nice things.
So tell me what he said. He caught a charge for it, and he's on a DV second. He might be going to prison. Who knows? Or to jail for several months. So what did he say that was so bad that got him a second DV charge and potentially, I don't know if he's on probation or probation violation?
Basically threatened to knock my back door in because he was claiming that I was withholding him from the kids.
And did he threaten to hurt you in any way in those texts?
No.
So, Mr. Ashley, you claim that CPS said, don't let her see. When did you claim you had contact with them where they said, right now, first? And guys, by the way, CPS can tell you to do stuff that may not be incongruent with your current court orders, and that can cause some problems if they're not going to initiate action. When do you allege CPS told you, right now, don't let her see your son?
Your Honor, it was months back. They told me, if you believe your son's well-being is in jeopardy, do what's right. And
okay, so this was not around the July incident. You're saying before
correct,
that?
Correct.
Before your May 2023 consent order for week on, week off?
week on, week off. And then, no, when that was done, when she started texting my son and calling her and Jacob, and I called her, my son called me. He said, Bubba, they keep calling me. She wants me to talk to Jacob. I called the mother. I said, hey, why do you keep,
Yeah,
what are you
but
doing?
what month, what part of the year did CPS encourage you not to allow? You're saying they said, if you think your child's at risk, don't violate your parenting time order. Don't let her have parenting. But when was that? Before May? Was it January, February, March? When was that?
May, June.
Before May.
So, sir, what did you go to jail for? What did you go to prison for?
I was disagreeing with the courts at the time. The mom was prostituting. I kept telling my attorneys I had.
That's not what. So, you must have made threats. What was your charge that you pled to or got convicted of? What was the charge that got you in?
It was a text. It was an email. I sent an email to the.
I know, but there's a charge. You get arraigned on a charge. You get convicted on a charge. You go to jail on a charge.
Yep. It was a false report, threat of terrorism through Eric Smith's office.
Okay. And how long ago were you released on that?
About almost 3 years ago now.
Okay, so 3 years ago. So well before. And guys, why we keep talking about May 2023? Realize when you guys do a consent order, the view of the court of the law is that takes into consideration everything that has happened between the two of you up until the date of that order. So prior to May 2023, everything we're talking about, you guys knew about, and it was your history prior to May of 2023. So when we talk about now, we talk about what has happened since May of 2023, the change of circumstances. So I appreciate both counsels laying the foundation because I've never met you guys before. And I need to know your history to help me formulate what I think should be done now. So we're saying since May of 2023, with all this stuff you're talking about, him going to prison, all this stuff, you guys agreed to week on, week off. Now you're saying there's this July incident where she came in your house, and that's the primary reason, the primary change of circumstance for this motion today. Am I hearing that correct, Mr. Perlman? And her alleged staying in contact with her boyfriend, Mr. Brodius.
Correct.
Those are the two main issues, right?
Correct.
Okay. So Ms. Margozzi, do you want to tell me about, and your counsel may interject here if I don't know what you said that you don't think there's any investigation anymore. Did you barge into his house and just go inside the house?
Actually, I was just there probably like 2 weeks before that because his dad has made it so hard for him to see, for me to pick up my son.
But let me ask this. I'm going to interject. It's a straight question. Did you barge through the garage, open the door of a house that you're not welcome at, go inside, and start having a disagreement with the people in the house?
Your Honor, I think I would at least like to clarify, she has a history with this family that she goes there. She's been invited over there for meals. So if she went there because Muhammad is withholding the child from her and she goes to try to work with his parents to try to get the child, I don't think that she's done anything wrong.
Well, you can't just walk into people's houses. Well, but guys, you can't just walk into someone's house and start yelling at them.
I didn't.
Can't you self out? You got to get so what happened that day?
Your Honor, I wasn't hostile at all. I've had a long-standing, out of the entire dynamic with Muhammad, with his parents, I love my mother-in-law. I am divorced, but she's always, she came to my home after I gave birth to my son 2 years ago and was holding him. When I went there, I didn't even see him. For one, we had a school event that Muhammad stood me up for. I haven't seen Meher in months, unless I go there to see him. He already knew that there was a school event. This didn't happen out of the blue. This was Monday, August 28th. He was supposed to start school August 29th. We had talked all day about this school event. We planned it weeks before. It was the school walkthrough to see his friends, see his classroom, meet his teacher. He was supposed to be there at 4:30. I texted him hours ago. I said, before I pack my 3 kids in the car, can you please let me know if you were going to be there at 4:30? Told me yes. Then when I was driving, ended up telling me, by the way, we already went. The event started at 4:30. I said, what do you mean
Okay,
you
but
already
are we talking August now? Did we go
This
from
happened-
the July incident at his
No, I'm
house to
just,
August, something else?
No, this happened August 28th. The incident where first of all, I was not arrested. Second of all, it's been completely dismissed. I know this because one, I'm a registered nurse. I graduated 2 years ago. If I was to be charged with breaking and entering or assault of any kind, that severely impacts my career. It impacts my record. I don't have
Okay, but take a pause, because you both tend to go into these directions when right now I'm focused on July, when he claimed you barged into
It's
the
not
house, tried to
July.
grab your son, was striking him, pushing him. So you're saying his July 24th date is not the right date when
No.
this police report was made?
100%.
What is the proper date?
August 28th.
So you say it was a total month later
It was August 28th.
from
because
when
my
he
son was-
alleged?
The day that I went to try to get my son and I physically picked my child up, I said, you're coming with me, was August 28th. He called the police, his father. The police came to my house. I did not get arrested. I have been since in contact with the detective on this case, and they have said they sent it to the prosecutor's office and they would let me know if a warrant was going to be authorized for this.
Okay.
I have since been in contact with the detective, and the detective told me personally, he left me a voicemail and he said the case has not been authorized by the prosecutor's office. It's been 100% dismissed. There's no case.
Okay,
Not
so
correct.
guys, stop. Just as an aside, dismissed does not mean before there's a charge, nothing can get dismissed. You're claiming that they're closing the investigation and the prosecutor's not going to bring charges, but
Yes.
they did forward a request for a warrant against you. They clearly did.
At the time, but it's been completely dropped. Like there's no
How do
investigation.
you know you're saying that the detective told you the prosecutors are not picking up the issue and not going to press charges? That's what you're claiming?
Yes.
And counsel, you say that's not true?
My understanding is that there were no formal charges brought against Miss Margosian. Like I looked her up. I looked her name up in the
Okay.
Sterling Heights District Court. She was never formally charged with anything. And so she, like she told the court, she's been contacting the detective. And
So, sir,
talking to-
when's the last time, or ma'am, when's the last time you talked to the detective on the case that was investigating the case?
It was Detective Eric Job, and he left me a personal voicemail, and then I called him back. He sent me an email, and I also attached the email. I gave it to Sima. I can tell you exactly the day.
So let me ask this. So, Mr. El Chalet, she's saying this is not a July incident. This
No.
is an August incident, a month later.
August.
Your Honor, July was when she violated the court order and tried to have Jacob make contact with Maher. August is where she barged in. I have it all on video and audio.
Okay.
And Detective Job called me and emailed me telling me he was not happy with the prosecutor's decision and he appealed it, and that it's a back open investigation. And I have the email. I already forwarded to my attorney yesterday.
Okay. So, but they did tell you that the prosecutors decided not to pick up the case. So
Correct,
to say,
but
or charge.
he appealed it. He said,
When did he tell you? When did he tell you that?
You can ask my attorney. I forwarded him the email yesterday. He has the date if you want the accurate date.
Okay. So, guys, I will say my understanding was this was the July, but you've now indicated that the July was the alleged texting and trying to encourage contact between your son and her boyfriend. And now this barging into the house was August.
Yes, Your Honor. At 5:03. PM.
All right. And ma'am, you say you were invited. How did you end up in the house?
I was not invited, but I
Okay.
have been, that's almost been like a second home for me. So if I were to go there, the only,
Okay.
if, and when I
Okay.
can tell you that when I was, so I got to the house, the garage door was open. I seen my ex-mother-in-law in the kitchen cooking. I went to the door, I opened the door, I said, hi, Tita. I said, where, is Manor here? And she goes, no. And she was cooking. And I said, do you know, like, what's going on? Like, yeah, there was a school event today. His dad didn't bring him. I didn't see his dad's car, so I didn't even think my son was there. I didn't think his dad was there. And I was
Okay.
like, can we talk?
Okay. Had you been seeing your son prior to this August incident? Had you been seeing him, or you had no parenting time since July?
No parenting time of my own. Only time I was able to see him is if I went to their house. I've been at their house.
How many between times in July and August in a month did you go over there?
From the new consent order from May to now, about 4 times.
Okay,
Yeah.
4 times. And for how long?
I was there all day, like all day.
And
With
was Mr. El Chalet there or no?
Yep, all the time, every time.
And you guys were all hanging out together as a family?
Yep,
Do you guys ever talk about reconciliation?
no.
Okay, I just want, guys, I'm just trying to figure out your dynamic here. I don't
I
assume
will
that. I just
say
wanted to know.
That
Your
I
Honor,
have,
can I?
That, no,
Can I-
she's talking right now. You
Okay.
can talk in a minute.
I have 305 pages of text communication going back from January. I actually gave the whole binder. I printed them all off, gave them to Sima. I have texts of him saying, let's go get massages together. 3 months ago, I have texts saying, come over, I'll give you $100 for your car. He works as a car service technician. So he said, I'm your person, like anytime you need car repairs. I have a text message going back from the end of July asking me to move with him.
Okay. So let me ask this. So counsel and Ms. Khalil, either counsel is always welcome to interject as I'm asking questions here, obviously. Were your children, and ma'am, you have other children other than your child with Mr. El Chalet?
Yes,
And how many other children?
I have 3.
3 other children or 3 total with your child, Mr. El Chalet?
I have 3 other children. I have 4
And
children.
what are their ages?
My daughter, she's 6. My Benjamin, my son, is 1.5 years. And then my daughter, she's 8.5 months old. 9 months. She's 9 months.
Okay. All right. And the 2 youngest are with Mr. Proteus.
Yes.
And what is your arrangement with your 6-year-old?
I'm a single parent. I've always been a single parent with her.
So you have full custody of all your children, other children?
Yes.
Okay. And counsel indicated that you guys have both had intervention and removal of children by CPS. Is that true?
No.
Both of you?
That was pre-judgment. So in pre-judgment, they both experienced a removal. The children were placed with the paternal grandparents, and eventually.
Why was that? Why was that? Was that
because
DV issues?
there was horrible domestic violence. And the one that I am going to highlight, because it's going to go to the pattern of conduct of Mr. Alshalay, there was an instance where these 2 were together and CPS had, placed the child with him, but knowing that his family was there, but these 2 were together. And he told her, Miss Margosian, to call CPS and make a threat on the child's life. And then I'll get the child, and then we'll both take off. And I say that to the court, and it's important because that's what's happening again, where he is alleging that my client is reaching out to the child by way of text messaging and saying, oh, talk to Mr. Brodius, talk to Miss Brodius. If my client doesn't have
true? Well, is it true?
No, it's not true. That my client would not do that. He is the one that gets, because at that time, I don't know if he still or his family
Okay.
still works like with
So what kind of domestic violence do you allege was going on between them?
between
You
these two.
guys? Yeah.
I know there was physical. I mean, because he had a
So
domestic
Ms.
violence
Margosian,
conviction.
you want to tell me? And guys, I'm going to make some comments. Again, guys, I'm the new ref on your case. So I apologize if I'm going over histrionics and stuff, but it's important for me to try to figure out what to do to try to diffuse the dynamic and get you guys forward at some point to be respectful and in healthy relationships, non-abusive relationships, and not have interaction with the law, the courts, and CPS. So Ms. Margosian, you want to tell me what you allege was going on between you two in the past?
He was horrible. I don't
Well,
I don't think
that
that's-
doesn't, I don't know what that means. You have to tell me.
I mean, like punching me in the face. I don't even.
Was there any charges between was he ever charged with anything against you?
The last,
What-
I was at Turning Point. I left so many times with
Okay.
him.
Okay.
There is
The
a
very
DV
last
conviction.
one. The very last one I
When
did.
was that? When was that? When was the DV conviction? Mr. El Chalet, you can tell me too.
2016 or 17.
2016, Your Honor, it was for verbal communication. There was never any assaults. There was never any assault charges.
Okay.
It was a verbal. The detective told me that if you text, it's still domestic violence if you text it. So I never laid a hand on her. She's when I left her mother left her in homeless shelters, Your Honor. She went and met a guy in a homeless shelter.
So this is her mother. This is her mother, the detective.
Correct. She left her at many warming centers, many homeless shelters.
Why do you think she has a problem? Why do you let she has a problem with her mom?
They don't
The mom
get
who's
along.
the detective.
Yeah, we do.
They do
So
not
Miss
get along.
Miss Margosian, do you want to tell me, did your mom ever leave you homeless or out of the house?
Your Honor, I just want to hold on, Ashley. I just want to premise this with this. Muhammad not only terrorizes Miss Margosian, but he does the same stuff with her family members to isolate her. And so
Well, how does he convince a detective that her daughter is a horrible person? And now he's saying the detective abused his son too. And guys, I'm going to make a few points. We're going to get there in a moment.
And if I may, I mean, I understand the court needs a background, but there's in our motion, we've attached the text message where mother's trying to persuade her son to speak to Jake again after this order was already entered in July, saying that you could work it out with him.
Okay. All right. So Ms. Margosian, you want to respond to allegations? Is that text real, not real? What are those texts attached to the motion? Are those from you or your son?
Those are from me because it's been, I actually just want to, I know I'm being rude, but the abuse that I went through with his father is disrespectful right now. For him to sit there and say he never put a hand on me. This has to do, I've already healed from all of that.
Okay.
And I shouldn't have to rehash it. So I will say this matter is about my son. How dare you?
Well,
I can't.
Okay.
I can't go back.
But ma'am, let me make a point. People tend to repeat their mistakes. And if you're alleging Mr. El Chalet was abusive, it seems like you went from one abusive man to the other. I don't say that as criticism. I don't say that to make you feel bad, but you have to seek counseling or whatever you need because you are getting involved with abusive men. And for yourself, you don't deserve that. You don't deserve it from Mr. El Chalet. If that happened in the past, you don't deserve it from Mr. Brodius. You don't deserve it from anybody, but patterns tend to be repeated. And so for yourself. And just as an aside, and this is not a flattering for Mr. El Chalet, people tend to make these habits. So she's been involved, she's saying, with 2 abusive men. That is now affected because now you're the second guy you're involved with is affecting potentially your parenting time. And Mr. El Chalet, all I know is you went to prison for a few years for domestic terrorism. So I know you got a temper on you. And she's alleging you had a DV charge that you pled to or got convicted in 2016. Guys, you can't change your criminal records. I don't want to hear debates that you guys are. And then guess what, guys? You guys talk about getting back together. And this dysfunction and stuff goes on because one day you hate each other. He's an abuser. She's an abuser. She's with an abusive guy. And then you're talking about leaving and going away together and getting back together. And she's hanging out at your house. And I can always hope that you stabilize your relationship for the benefit of your child. But you guys have a very dysfunctional dynamic going on. And guys, you guys at some point this is what I would be my unsolicited advice. 1, don't consider getting back together. Go forward saying, we are not going to be together. Ma'am, your current boyfriend, I hope you are done with him. I know he's the parent of your children, but this is not a good guy. This is bad news. And I know you depend probably on him for financial support, and that tends to tie people together, but he's not worth it. You guys need to stabilize your relationships, move forward and say, we need to communicate with each other at the minimum right now, only about emergencies, what's essential for your child, school, otherwise, not get into history, not get into everything else, and maintain yourself. So guys, guess what? You guys might be guilty of bad things, but if one person gets their act together, pardon my French, and the other one doesn't, then guess what? Then that's where you're at now. So the question is, where are you at now? So ma'am, do you think your son is afraid to be with you? Why? Or do you think Mr. El Chalet is just making this all up? What's your living situation and what's your take on that?
The relationship with Jacob and I has not been the most stable. So I respect my son when he says he doesn't want, there has been a lot of, physical abuse, no. Verbal, like fighting about him drinking, asking him to leave, the arguing about what, financial issues and stuff like that. There was a lot of stress since I gave birth to my son 2 years ago. A lot of just, that's not healthy for my kids. So when my son says he doesn't want to be here with me, with Jacob in the house, I agree, which is why. So there was a child abuse charge that his dad filed against Jacob in March. That was denied. It didn't go anywhere. The prosecutor's office took like 2 months to make their determination, but they dropped the case. CPS
and that was against who? And that was against who?
Jacob. His dad.
Okay. So his father called the police and he got investigated for abusing his dad?
No, Mohammed filed a police report against Jacob Broadus, alleging that Jacob abused Mahar in my house.
Okay. Abused your son.
Yes, our son.
Okay. I got you. And that was investigated and no charges happened.
No charges happened. CPS they dismissed it. The police dismissed it. However, when his father and I, when this consent order, and his attorney can testify to this too, I personally emailed his attorney in May when I was in the car with Mohammed. I was in Mohammed's vehicle in May. He called me and said, hey, what are you doing? I met him up. We sat together and me and Mohammed drafted a motion together that we wanted, that that we could agree on. We agreed to the 1 week on, 1 week off, and his attorney can testify because I emailed his attorney
Yeah,
that
but,
day.
okay, so stop. But was that based on an agreement between you and Mr. El Chalet that your boyfriend was out of the picture? But he wasn't. You stayed together and he got in trouble in July. Right?
Yes.
I'm just making a point. I'm not demonizing you. The point I'm making is you sat down with Mr. El Chalet, you made an agreement, week on, week off, Mr. Brodius wouldn't be around, but then he came back around. And then Mr. El Chalet got unhappy, rightfully so.
However,
Now, does that mean you should stop? Does that mean you should call cops and get in these fights? But you guys are at a point, you guys got to be smart and be like, you know what, before you roll into a house or this, he's going to call the cops. You guys call cops, you guys end up entrenched in this stuff. You're nice one day, you're not the other. So ma'am, what is your current living situation?
Your Honor.
Are you in an apartment, in a house? What? Ask my
I
question.
have
Don't get into, don't digress into other issues. Answer my question.
I have a town.
What is your living situation? And whose name is on it? You, Mr. Brodius, or is it just yours?
Just me.
And are you able to afford it with Mr. Brodius? Does he have a no contact bond with you right now?
Yes, technically but I've already been told by my complex because of the police coming to my apartment and Jacob is not allowed here. I will be evicted. He cannot, and Jacob cannot come to ever since he was arrested in July. When he came over to see the kids, he was drunk, and the office has since called me actually as of a couple weeks ago and said that, Ashley, if we see him walking around, if we see him at your house, we will be sending you a 30-day notice. So I cannot have Jacob here. It's not,
Right.
We've been, and I just want to say that I upheld my end when I signed that order, when I agreed to the order in May of Jacob not being here. I wasn't having, even when I agreed, I said, okay, Jacob's not going to be here. He still didn't give me parenting time. He still didn't allow me to go get my car.
Well, but listen, when you lose trust, guys, it's hard to get it back. And you weren't totally honest because he came back around. But so let me ask this. Where do you guys live in a conjunction with each other? What city do each of you live in?
Sterling Heights, Your Honor.
And ma'am, is that where you're at too?
Yes.
So you're in the same school district. Your son doesn't have to switch schools when he's going between your home. Like he's in this school he would have been with no matter what. Correct?
Yes.
Correct, Your Honor. Can I, one thing, Your Honor, can I please?
So let me ask Mr. El Chalet. Well, let me ask this. If Mr. Brodius is gone for good, he's gone. That's the problem, right? Mr. Brodius is the problem.
Correct, Your Honor. She texted me, Your Honor, on App Close. It's an app that the judge Swatowski
I know what it is. I know what it is.
She told me on the text, Your Honor, she said, keep him because I'm not getting rid of Jacob. I can't let him go. I need the help. She said, I'll come and see him. And it's in there, Your Honor.
When did she send you that message?
It was like probably 2 weeks before her and I agreed to the new
So in May. Well, that was pre-order then. So
no,
so I'm going to be blunt.
Yeah, correct, Your Honor, pre-order.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So Miss Margosian, I'm going to be blunt.
But I guess what I would say, Your Honor, is that she still would need the help. They have children together. And her reason for saying that would still apply. She does need the help. And it puts it in a horrible situation. But that is the basis for this motion. She couldn't.
And is there a reason Mr. Perman, we can't see you anymore? Is there a reason your camera's off?
Your Honor.
So stop, guys. I'm going to make a point because I'm going to make my decision. Ma'am, Mr. Brodius is the problem. You agreed to an order that he can't have contact with him. I believe you probably violated that order. This is a gentleman who is not causing you good things in your life. If you get caught around with him again, it's going to affect your custody and parenting time. I think he's the problem. I'm inclined to reinitiate your parenting time, but if you violate it and the next time you're around Mr. Brody's again, it's gonna have an effect on your custody and parenting time. Because then I'm going to make a point to both of you. You lose trust with the court, it's hard to get it back. I don't know how to impart to you. I know there are financial constraints. I primarily, before I came to the court, represented women in abusive situations. I understand there is a big financial component when this person, you have young children and childcare cost a fortune and you need them financially, but you have to separate yourself from this guy. You seem to have a pattern getting involved and you need to, and I would suggest counseling or whatever, ma'am, because you're telling me you now have been involved with two bad guys. Pardon my French. And Mr. El is saying he's got his stuff together. Mr. El, you're not a saint. You went to prison for threatening judges. You had a past DV, guys. I can go over your histories and say all of this stuff, but you guys have to, at some point in a choice, go to counseling, guys. Go to counseling. Be honest about the dynamic you have and move forward, or you're going to be back in front of me. You're going to deal with law enforcement. You're going to be all over. I don't know what to tell you, man, but you cannot have your child around Mr. Brodius whatsoever. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And should I believe you? Because I'm going to tell you, if I find out your son has been around him, it will not go good the next time you're in court. And counsels are welcome to interject if they have any problem with anything I'm saying.
No, I don't even trust my own kids that we have together to be, because he's an alcoholic and I don't have trust with him at all anymore. So he doesn't even really see the kids that we have.
And I'll be honest, my concern is, as we talked here, you tend to be a little defensive of him. I'm not saying that's evil, but you tend to be a little defensive and minimize his behavior a bit. And it's probably because you have two young children, but whether he's a drunk, a mean drunk, threatening people, or whatever he's doing, this is not a good guy for you.
No,
I'm going to be blunt. Mr. El might not be a good guy for you either, but you guys have to get to a point where you can work together, disengage, don't roll into each other's houses where you think you're invited or not. Know that this is not a good dynamic between the two of you. I would strongly suggest you guys seek counseling, both of you, or join counseling with, and I'm inclined, and let me ask this, counsels, what are your thoughts about have these parties go to a couple visits with either Dr. Beckley or someone else in a private capacity to try to stabilize their dynamic? Is that worth it? Not going to do any good? What are your counsel's thoughts?
I don't know that it will do any good. Again, it's these outside factors that really, I agree with your honor. It's these outside factors that really have caused these issues. And I don't blame my client in that situation. I mean, he did the right thing. He had a violation of the order. There's a reason that they agreed to that order, and he filed a motion. But not to say that therapy isn't good for. I don't think that is. No, I don't think that is necessarily beneficial at this point.
Okay, Ms. Khalil, any thoughts?
Yeah, I would say they should not be in any sort of family counseling. If they want to do individual counseling on their own time, that's fine.
Your Honor, can I say something, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you please speak to my son and let him tell you what he thinks, and you can figure out whatever you want from there, Your Honor?
So guys, we're not allowed to interview children except for custodial preference and custody fights. And this is an extra one. So
the second thing,
we don't interview them to be fact finders between their parents. The only thing the law presents is for us to interview them if we think custody is an issue.
okay. Second thing, Your Honor, I was with her for
Yeah.
6 months, divorced her. Second of all, the second guy she brought over was selling drugs out of her apartment at a Section 8 apartment that she lives in still now. He
Was
choked
that
her.
prior to May? Was that prior to May of 2023?
Correct. The second guy OD'd
Okay, I
in
don't,
her
I
house.
don't want to hear it.
Oh,
But
okay.
that was prior to May. That was prior to May of 2023. Again, guys, everything that happened between the two of you prior to the May 2023 order, you took into consideration in doing that agreement.
Your Honor, prior to that, my son came to me when he came to me through this order, the new order. Your Honor, he was huffing and wheezing and he had severe anxiety. Now my son has no eye twitching issues, nor hard breathing is gone. And ask her about the hard breathing. She could not figure it out. He had extreme anxiety. Now, Your Honor, it's completely gone. Complete, and she
Okay.
even realized it.
But let me ask this: if Mr. Brodus is out of the picture for good and not going to be around your son, what is the issue you have with the plaintiff?
Your Honor, she is
Or the
her
defendant.
credibility. She lies a lot to me and my son.
But do you feel that has she herself been abusive or neglectful to your son? It seems
Yes.
the issue is with her boyfriend.
Yes,
How
Your
so?
Honor. She has abused my son as far as hitting him with a big metal spoon that CPS knows about, a cooking spoon. It's in the CPS report. CPS report, Your Honor, was withheld from the prosecution of her admitting to Jacob and Jacob admitting to assaulting my son. With the incident, she said they refused to file a charges against Jacob.
So it sounds like you just want your son's mom in jail.
No, I don't want her in jail, but she can't keep, she keeps, and then she said she has not contacted Jacob. Your Honor, that's a lie. She calls him all the time. She had notified me from Macomb County.
Well,
jail.
there's no bar that she can't talk to your son. She can talk to your son.
No, not my
as
son.
many
I'm
times
saying
as she wants.
she told you that she doesn't talk to Jacob. That's a lie. Macomb County Jail has a recording. She calls him all, she receives his calls all the time. And she told me prior to a month of this, she says that she receives his phone calls, that he will be living with her. My son told her, I'm scared. I don't want to go there.
Okay.
And she
Are
she
you
just
still
lied
there?
to us.
Are you still there, Miss Margosian? Why is your camera and your mic off?
I am so sorry.
Are you there?
I am. I have.
It's family court. It's okay. If there's a baby crying, we can handle it. You're not going to get in trouble for your child crying. Your baby. So I'll ask one last time, and then I'll make my decision. So, ma'am, he's Mr. Chalet saying up to a month ago, you're telling him you're going to be with Mr. Brodus, and that's the way it is, and he has to get used to that.
Yep.
Why do you think she told you that, sir? Just so you could then call the cops and get her in trouble?
No.
Or why would she be so honest with you?
She said to me, I got this nursing job that I can't barely work because I have all these kids. I need his help. I needed because he works roofing sometimes and he brings me a little money here and there. And I told her, and I always have told her it's not healthy. It's not the right thing, man. I'm like, just, you got to get your act together. You got this nursing degree online. You barely practice your nursing thing. You go see people in hospice or whatever, like old people at homes.
Okay.
I said, you need to focus on your life and get this guy out the picture. He's just trouble. And she goes to me, well, I need the money. And she doesn't work.
So
She
your
just sits in her-
argument is that I should not believe her and she'll absolutely have him around your son again when he gets out. That's your argument.
Your Honor, she said she has not contacted him. Your Honor, her contacts with him are through Macomb County Jail phone call system.
I don't
And you can ask her.
I don't care if she contacts him as long as she doesn't have him around your kid.
Yeah, she will have him.
She's got a 1.5 and 8-month-old with him. So there's going to be some kind of dialogue, but my concern is him being around your son. My concern is not him or talking to him about his children. My concern is him being around your child.
Correct, Your Honor. This punk called me threatening me, and then following that, Your Honor.
When?
She knows probably about the incident where he throwed my son in the wall while he was sleeping because son didn't want to get.
What year are you talking about?
This year, Your Honor. It was probably in March, Your Honor.
Before, guess what I'm going to say? Before your May 2023 order, when you did joint week on, week off.
No, right
when stopped.
No, in July. I'm sorry. In July is when he called and started threatening me, and that's when, after my threatening, he called my son, and she called my son and texted my son for my son to take the phone call to talk to this guy. So I had to do the right thing. I'm just not going to lose my life.
Okay, Miss Margosian, any comment on all this? And then I'm going to make my decision.
It just keeps going. Like, he just keeps. Jacob,
well, tell me if it's true or not. You're both under oath. Tell me if it's true or not.
Jacob never texted, and in fact, the 3 years that I've been on and off with Jacob, he's never called Mohammed. He's never texted Mohammed. He's never reached out to my son. He's never texted my son. He's never, and actually, it's kind of. I understand the truth of what has, the stress and the fighting and the toxicity in my home. But I've received texts from my son saying Jacob threatened to kill me. Jacob threatened. I mean, the list just goes on, and it's really orchestrated by his dad, because I can tell you there's been times where my son has had 3 cell phone numbers. My 3 cell phone numbers.
Okay. All right. And again, and what day do you guys usually use an exchange day when you're exchanging your child?
Sunday.
All right.
Your Honor, if I can ask, his dad has been very cruel, and the entire summer since this May order was adopted said you can come pick up Mayher at 9:00 at night. How is that realistic with 2 babies and a 6-year-old, especially when school starts?
You guys, you're both in Sterling Heights. It's not 9:00 at night. All right. So guys, I'm going to make my decision. I'm done. We've talked for an hour, guys. If you don't, I'm a referee, not a judge. You guys always have 21 days to object to my decision. Objecting to my decision is your right under the law. You do not get in trouble, either one of you, for objecting. I do not get mad, and the Honorable Terry Lynn Denny doesn't get mad. Just so you know, guys, case has been reassigned to the Honorable Terry Lynn Denny. So I'm going to indicate that 1, pursuant to the August 31st, 2023 consent order, defendant's
Judge,
former boyfriend.
Oh, sorry. Was it August or May?
I'm sorry. I have August. Let's see. Maybe it's. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's when this was filed. You're right. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Thank you for correcting me, counsel. I appreciate that. It was May. Defendant's former boyfriend shall have no contact with the party's minor child. It is noted that Mr. Broaddus was recently charged with DV second involving the defendant. Mr. Broaddus currently has 2 children with defendant, ages 1.5 and 8 months. Defendant was advised that the parties suddenly have contact with Mr. Broaddus in the future. It may result in a modification of her custody and or parenting time. Right. And you guys have both talked about corporal punishment. I'm going to indicate that both parties are barred from using corporal punishment with the minor child, i.e. hitting, slapping, pulling, choking, etc. So guys, no corporal punishment. It is not supported by American Pediatric Association, Psychiatric Association, Medical Association. They used to say for young children a pat on the behind, they don't even support that. Neither one of you is to use any form of corporal punishment. and must insist that family members and caregivers do not utilize corporal punishment with the minor child. Based on defendant's testimony and promise at motion hearing that she will comply with the order of the court, and Mr. Jacob Broadus will have no contact with the party's minor child. Her parenting time shall be reinitiated October 23rd, 2023, pursuant to the current order of the court. So ma'am, I'm only returning your parenting time based on, and this will give you guys each some time to file objections. He can file an emergency motion to stop my order if he feels that's appropriate, but that's why I gave till Sunday to do this.
Your Honor, can we have the exchange at the police department?
Sure. Do you guys want to do exchanges at the police department? What police department? Shelby
The
Township?
Sterling Heights.
Or I'm sorry, Sterling Heights? Are both parties able to get the child at 6 p.m.? We'll put parenting time exchanges at 6 p.m. Is everyone able to do that?
Yes.
Your Honor, what do I do with my PPO?
Then it should definitely be at the police station.
What does your PPO say?
It says that I could not be she cannot be in contact with me, around me, or my son.
When did you get that PPO? When was it served on her?
It was on her. We got the PPO through Judge Rancilio on August 29th.
Ma'am, have you been served with a PPO? Counsel, are you aware of that?
She served as objections hearing scheduled for October 16th, but I haven't seen the
Okay.
PPO. I don't know if it extends to the minor
Okay.
child.
Okay, so I'm going to indicate that the next parenting time exchanges shall occur at the Sterling Heights Police Department. The court notes that there is currently a PPO entered between the parties with an objection hearing. And when is that objection hearing, Counsel?
The 16th.
Scheduled for October 16, 2023. I'm going to note parenting time exchanges are for the peaceful exchange of the minor child. Neither party shall speak about litigation or approach each other during parenting time exchanges. So guys, your child can be exchanged. If you guys want to use a third party, such as your mom, that might help as well. If you want to use your mom, I'm going to put parties that may use the paternal grandmother to facilitate the exchange.
Your Honor,
if they
I
so
do not
choose.
want to be around her grandmother. His grandmother.
No,
is
your
currently
mom.
under-
Yours. You're the paternal grandmother. Your mom.
Correct.
mom,
Yeah,
who
because
she
her
likes.
mother is currently under investigation by the FBI.
I said your mom. I said your mom, not her mom, yours.
Okay.
She likes your mom. If your mom wants to help out with the exchange, your mom can help out. Your mom can do it. Okay? All right, guys. So I'm based on her testimony and promise he will not be around. I believe that he's been around in the past. I'm going to take her word based on what I've said, that she's not going to let him around. She can talk to him on the phone about his children, but she cannot make your son talk to him, have any contact with him whatsoever. She's promising that, so I'm going to reinitiate the parenting time. If you don't like my rock, you have 21 days to object, or your attorney can try to file an ex parte order, get you in there expedited to see if Judge Dennings will get you in quicker, should she not want parenting time reinstated. But that is my recommendation based on the testimony before the court. All right? All right, guys. Go ahead.
I understand time is, I have been denied parenting time in July, strictly on the basis that my mother had interaction with Mahar. Am I going to be denied? I want to know if, and I'm speaking, making it known, because if his dad, what happens when his dad denies me parenting time because my son is around my family?
Your Honor, her family abused my son, and she knows that.
Okay, you can, well, then make a parenting time complaint to the parenting time department and ask for a show cause hearing if you're not allowed your child again in the future. So guys, file objections, get in front of the judge,
All right.
Thank you.
Okay? So guys, we're going to email you a copy of this order and the objection procedure. If you have any procedural questions, you're welcome to call my office. But again, based on her promise, these are not allegations against Ms. Argosian. She's saying he will never be around your son. And I've been very blunt to her. If I find out he has, it's going to be very detrimental to her custody and parenting time position. But based on the current order, if there's no contact, and ma'am, if he's coming back, you got to call Mr. Ashley and say, here's your son. You can't have him around him. So if you decide to get back together, you're going to have to give Mr. Ashley your son. He cannot be in that house with Mr. Broadus. Family Court. And who do I have on the telephone?
Rodney Thomas.
All right. All right, Mr. Thomas, Ms. Burke has already stated her appearance. I want to thank you both for appearing via Zoom today. And please realize that
how did she stated
Go
her
ahead.
appearance when?
yeah, your audio wasn't working. She connected and has stated her name. She's here. And then you got your audio connected. Yeah, so I'm just saying, when I say her appearance, she's here present in the courtroom via Zoom already, and she's already stated her name. Ms. Burke, can you state your name again so he can hear you?
Yvette Burke.
I just got one question.
Okay.
The way that I was notified about this whole proceeding was not right. So I don't feel that I had a fair chance to prepare for this.
So you didn't receive a copy of the motion?
Yeah, but I received it Friday.
Yeah, so the law provides that you have to have it in the mail 9 days in advance.
Yeah, but
and it looks like, ma'am, you might be short a day. You might be short a day here. Let's see. So you did it on the 14th. You said this indicates you mailed it to him on September 14th. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so
I have the
what?
receipt to show that.
All right.
The big purse from the post office. I'm gonna show you.
And
Just get
Mr.
my
Thomas,
purse.
is your address up to date with the front of the court? So ma'am, what address did you send it to?
I send it to the address. I don't have it exactly in front of me. It's 11 something where I picked up the kids and dropped off the kids of staying with him. The other address I had before is the address where he lived before, and I know he's not living there.
Okay, so
It's a
you
boarded
mailed
up
this.
house.
Okay, so you mailed this to the Flanders address
Yes.
in Detroit?
Yeah.
So Mr. Thomas, are you at a Flanders address in Detroit?
No, that's not my address.
What is the address you want for the court and for how long have you been there?
6 months.
And is that what you have on record with the front of the court?
No.
So we have six.
My driver's license and my places where I stay.
Okay, so we have our record. Okay, our records have you at.
No.
So it's not 6154, it's 5555. There's two different things. So guys, just so you know, when you're serving stuff, you can use the last known address on file with the courts. And ma'am, did he sign for it or or no?
I don't know who this is, but someone signed. I can't, oh, wait a minute.
I can't see it, but you can't read what the
It
signature
says, CAM, maybe, or
So
something.
okay.
LO.
Mr. Thomas, does that ring a bell, Mr.
Somebody.
Thomas?
Not at all, and I didn't sign for it.
Okay, so guys, listen. So I can adjourn this a week to make sure that service requirements are met, or we can go forward today because it's probably going to be the same debate today that we're going to have in a week. So Mr. Thomas, what do you want to do? You want to do this next week or today?
Well, it's really confusing on, what she did this whole process. And like I said, this was like I got it like Friday.
Right. So she's basically the heart of this motion is you have 4 children. Your oldest your son was living with you, but now she says he's living with her. That's pretty much the heart of this motion, ma'am. Am I correct?
So let's just proceed right now and just because.
Okay. All right.
He just went back with her. Okay. He just went. So.
All right.
This whole argument and no, I don't agree with it, and no, I'm not going along with what she's doing at all. I don't agree.
Well, what does that mean? Let her tell me what happened. I'm going to let you respond, and then I'm going to ask you each what you want to do. So you guys have kind of been doing things your own way. You guys did a support order back in 2021 with you having your son primarily and her having the 3 other children primarily. So let me ask this. So sir, what would you like the situation to be? The arrangement with the 4 kids?
There's only 3 kids.
Oh, there's 3. I'm sorry.
She's done and over.
Keone's graduated. She's 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not.
Okay. So I'm sorry. I mean, your 3 minor children. What would you like to see the arrangement with them, sir?
So
My son Rodney, the third, still stays with me, and my other twins can come with me on the weekend.
But I thought you said Rodney just went back to his mom's recently.
Yeah, he went back. He wasn't supposed to go back, but he went back. He wasn't supposed to go back. The way it happened, he wasn't supposed to go back to his mom. He just ended up there. He knows that, and that's what basically happened with that situation.
And ma'am, tell me, ma'am, this is your opportunity to tell me your side of the situation. What's your take on it?
This is my side. I have witness statements. I'm sorry, but I was at the emergency with my 13-year-old daughter. She plays football, and she had jammed her finger. And my son called me and asked me where I was because he has to get dropped off right now. And I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm at the emergency with your sister. So can I just pick you up after because I'm not at home?" You know, I said, "What do you mean dropped off right now?" He said, "I have to get dropped off right now." I said, well, the way he said it, I'm like, well, hold on. What, do you have all your clothes or something? Because every time he comes to my house, there's a problem with clothes, you know, that I sent all over there. So he said, yeah, I have all my clothes. So the girlfriend pulls up in front of Children's Hospital. It's a U in front of the emergency, skirting, music loud, put him out, put his clothes out. Yep, see you. Yep, I'm good. Bye. Skirted off, music loud again.
What was the date of that?
That was, let me think, football. When did she do this? Oh, God. Yana, I didn't even, do you know, I'm sorry, I don't have.
I mean,
dates. It's been like
January,
a week
February,
ago.
March?
No, it's been that happened a week ago. Now, prior to
Okay,
that.
1 week ago.
Yeah,
okay.
Prior to that, we'll just go back to, because there's so many days and so many incidents and so many times. I'm just gonna go back to school, beginning of school, when school started, when he was staying
You
with his
enrolled in
dad.
school.
Oh, can I
Okay, so sir, let her finish, and then sir, you'll get a chance when she's done. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so when school started, it was an issue with him going to school. He had to be in a certain school because of his behavior. Every school won't take him. So he finally found a school. It was like taking a long time to find a school. I'm like, well, what about, I got some options, these and those schools. No, we can't use my options. Okay, fine. I'm gonna stay out of it. I'm gonna let you handle it. So he got him in the school. Okay, fine. Within a week after that, he's at my house staying with me. Okay, he's there staying, not visiting, not coming back and forth. He's staying. So now, okay, fine. I know that happens because it happens all the time. Just like when he came back from California, the kids all left my house with all their stuff because he told me that he got it. He's going to take them. He'll take them all and give me a break so I can rest. Okay. Within 3-4 weeks, they were back with all their stuff. So,
okay,
you know, so it's not like, you know, I said, Rodney, can I get some shoes for school? Can I get that? You know, I don't care about what he is saying. I'm tired. I have not gotten no child support. The only thing I got was the tax return money. I used that to purchase a new vehicle because my vehicle was stolen in November, on November 30th. I was in rental since then. So the other money I spent, bills, shoes, socks, this, that, the third. Answer this for me. You know, I'm just asking for any help. Can I get some school clothes? Can they come over? Can I get a break? You know, something, anything, you know, but everything's always been on me.
Have you called in regards to support, have you called the enforcement office for support?
No, because I'm not even interested. I ain't got it all this time. I didn't get it. I ain't gonna get it. Like he told me he's gonna do what he wants to do. He's plainly told me that. He don't care who say what. He's gonna do what he wants to do. My daughter wants to know why she can't talk to her daddy, why he won't call her right now. You know, I didn't even ask for none of this. I just told her.
What do you want to, so what would you like to see happen? What is the parenting time situation you'd like it to be?
Parenting time, I would beg for anything. I don't even ask to put nothing set. Can I get a day? Can you come? Can they get the weekend? Can this be some sincere visit with my kids time? Can we do it? I don't even ask. I've been doing it on my own ever since. So I ain't asking for a dime. What about my daughter wondering where her daddy at?
So what do you want to, okay,
kids?
stop. What do you want to have happen today? What do you want the court to order today?
Custody of my son, because I'm the one taking care of him.
So you already, so your order already has you having joint legal with you having custody. You guys modified support, but you didn't modify the custody. You guys modified support on the case. Okay, I got it, but what is the schedule you want for parenting time? You already have custody. You guys just did a support order saying your son was primarily with dad, but there's still a support order charging away at $1,500 a month, just so y'all know. I mean, you can ask for enforcement.
Can you repeat that, sir?
You have a support order currently charging at $1,500 a month.
Sorry,
not 15. Guys, I'm sorry, it's 1,050.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I said there 1,050.
Okay. Okay, so now is Rodney still under that support?
Yeah, because it averages out. You guys calculated support in 2021.
Okay, so
take it. Stop, guys. You can't ask me a question and talk over me. I'm answering still. Let me answer the question you asked. In January of 2021, you kids did an order. The reason I said 4 children, I was looking at that order. Your oldest child now graduated and is an adult. But based on that, it takes into consideration the parenting time schedule. We had your son primarily living with you and the other children with mom, and it averages out all the overnights and came to $1,000 a month. Your arrearage owing to her is currently about $15,000. So enforcement's a different issue. There's an enforcement department. But right now, she's here saying, what do you guys want the parenting time schedule to be with the 3 children and you, Mr. Thomas? What do you want it to be?
Okay, what I said, I want my son to still remain physically with me because she doesn't know how to control him. Doesn't know how to control his behavior. I'm speaking now. He's a teen boy, okay, and he does what he wants to do. I'm the only person that can keep a thumb on him and keep him straight. So I do not want him with her. She cannot do it. She's called me numerous times and told me that she couldn't do it. That was the reason for him coming out to California. Okay, she put him on a plane and sent him to California because she could not do it anymore. I understood that, and I had no issues with it. And I still don't have no issues with it.
When she said your girlfriend called and dropped him off at the hospital when your daughter was in the hospital and dropped him off and said he's yours, that didn't happen?
Yes, but that didn't happen like that. She had no contact, or she just had contact with my son. When my son goes back and forth to her house, he takes all his clothes. So however she takes the picture.
So he didn't get in trouble, and you said I'm dropping him off, I'm done with him, and dropped him off at the hospital.
No, he did not get in trouble. Okay, Your Honor, if it was a place where I said, okay, you got to go back and stay with your mom, just as well as I talked to her outside of you, I would have called and told her that he coming back and stay with you. I'm done with it.
So, ma'am, he's saying that. So, ma'am, what's your take? Go ahead.
Okay, my take is that him and his girlfriend got into it and he left. She dropped him off at the hospital. Okay, we gonna cut to the chase. Okay, that's what happened, period. I was there. I talked to her as well. Okay, me and her.
So do you?
Thank you for taking care of my son. And she said, don't worry.
But let me ask this. But was it just for one day?
With every bag and stitch of clothing that he had?
Here's the question I'm asking. Did he get in a fight and leave for the day and his girlfriend took it upon herself to pack up your son's stuff and drop him off to you without Mr. Thomas knowing?
Because I wasn't there, but it all piled up in the back of my car to the point where my daughter, I have a third row. My daughter.
I got you, but you said you talked to his girlfriend. What does his girlfriend tell you? Were they in a fight just that one day, or did he take off for a day
I
since
didn't
you was
ask her.
watching your son without him?
I didn't ask her their business. That's not mine. I just told her, thank you
Okay.
for bringing me my son. I said, thank you for taking care of my son. Because she was like, I guess I'll holler at you, Trey. I'll see you whenever. And I was like, well, I said, Gabby, you okay? And she was like, oh, I'm good. I'm always good. I said, okay, well, thank you for taking care of my son. She said, oh, he's good. He's my son too. And she was like, but I'm straight. I'm gonna always be straight. And she pulled off. Okay,
But why did she say he was dropping him off with all his stuff?
We had a conversation, and I wasn't gonna go off into it with her at all. I'm gonna talk to the father, which never answers my calls until it's convenient.
So you don't know what happened. So you don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened, period.
So you haven't called Mr. Thomas since that day and said, hey, in the last 2 weeks, what's going on? Are you taking your son back?
I called him then. He did not answer my call. He called his son, I guess the next day. He didn't call him that day because I asked him, have you talked to your dad? Have you talked to your dad? No. He must have called him the next day or whenever. I don't know if he chose to keep it to himself or whatever. When I heard about it, it was the next day. And he said he talked to his dad. And he asked him, where was he? He said he told him I'm with my mom. And that was it. I don't get off into their conversations either because like I said, he says what he talked to his son about is his business, him and his son. So I ain't got nothing to do with that. When I talk to him,
he's saying he wants him back. So he's saying he wants him to come back.
This is my thing right here. I understand he wants him back. I do understand that. But with his rocky road, I'm tired of it. Ain't nobody got time. This ain't the first time he been back.
And can I say something, Your Honor?
Yep.
Okay. Can you control Trey, Rodney?
Are you talking to me or him?
Well, I'm just seeing.
I think he's talking to you. He's talking to you.
This is my thing. What I'm saying is.
Oh, wait, let me answer.
I know what I have to do.
Can I
keep
answer
my
what
son on the straight arrow.
Can I answer what you said?
So, sir, if you ask the question, you got to let her answer, right? You asked, let her answer.
Yeah, you okay.
Go ahead.
Right at this point right now, barely. It's always something. It's something. Trust me, every time. The most of it happens when he's going to school. Okay? The majority of it happens when he's going to school. You know, but my thing is, he's talking about how he can keep a thumb on him and everything else. Oh, he's done way worse in California. I have
what
a
do you want,
discipline
Mr.
law
What do you
from
want?
California, discipline law.
What do you want Mr. Thomas's parenting time schedule to be if he's living with you?
This is the thing, Your Honor. I feel like he don't get no parenting time. If he can't spend one day with his other son, he don't get none. You ain't spent none.
That's not how it works.
Barely.
What about the twins?
Okay,
what about the
I
twins?
want to have none. That's the answer.
Well, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. So other than 0.
Okay. 2. Nah.
And Mr. Thomas, what have you guys been doing with the younger 2 children?
Yeah.
You know, I've seen them probably maybe like twice a month.
You see them?
It's not as much because Rodney, you know, was physically with me. Okay. When it comes to the other 2, you know, they physically can come with me as well. My daughter, one of the twins, Aaliyah, she always wants to come, and when she comes over, she can come. She stays, and then she wants to go home. I don't force her to stay. Say, hey, you have to stay with me. My other son, he never wants to come over. When he does, he wants to stay for a day. But when discipline is, you know, when I start to implement discipline, he wants to go back home because he doesn't have that discipline at home. He wants to go where he doesn't have to listen or do anything. So he comes and he stays. And yes, I do talk to him. And this is something that she don't know. They both have phones, and I do call them, and I do speak to them.
Oh, can I say something?
I do talk to them.
No, he's talking right now. Let him finish what he's saying.
I talk to him. I talk to both of them. So if they don't want to come or if they don't want to stay, then I can't force them to stay. I can't say, hey, you're going to stay here because they're kids. No,
but I thought you said you need your son because he's out of control of his mom and you're the one who can do discipline. But if they're
No, no,
acting
I'm
up and you
talking
send them
about,
back to moms,
okay,
how are you doing the discipline?
so now that's Rodney. I'm talking about Aaron and Aaliyah, the twins, the other two.
Don't they need discipline?
They
I
also
take
do.
Ma'am,
control.
stop, ma'am, guys, stop talking to each other. This is a court of law. You don't argue with each other, ma'am. Stop interjecting when he's talking and vice versa. This isn't an argument back and forth. Everybody talks to me. Stop interrupting. Go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
Now, as far as Aaron and Leah, when they do come over, I do discipline them. I do, you know, I get in their butts about whatever they're doing and what I feel they're doing wrong. Even not at my house, even at her house. You know, I try to implement structure. But again, when they want to go home, they'll call their mom, and she'll be right out in front of the house picking them up.
All right. So guys, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you guys to a facilitator to try to work this out. If not, you guys will have a formal hearing with a referee. You can present witnesses, evidence, testimony, and think about what the parenting time schedule is right now. You guys are back and forth. They get in trouble at her house, they come to your house. They get in trouble at your house, you send them back to mom's house.
Wait, whoa.
Can
Can I say something? They don't get in trouble at my house.
Sir, you just said they get in trouble, you send them back to their moms.
I said I don't send them back to their mom, Your Honor. I said when they are ready to leave, they call their mom and she'll come and pick them up.
All right.
I handle what goes on inside my household. As far as the kids, I handle them. They physically live with their mom. They don't physically live with me. So when they come and visit, okay, I deal with them accordingly, is what I'm saying to you. Now, Rodney stays with me. So I totally discipline him. I keep him on the straight line. I put him in school.
But but I'm going to go back to how did your girlfriend end up calling her? She's at the hospital with your daughter and drops off a whole car of his belongings.
So let's fix that. If we got to take it the other way, we can, because she never called her at all. She was.
I said in person, Your Honor. I said in person. I even said
Stop.
I said, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
He was only in contact with my son, Rodney, and I was in contact the same day with Rodney when he was at the hospital. Okay, his mom was inside of the hospital. She wasn't even outside.
So how did he end up with all of his belongings? How did he end up with all of his belongings in your girlfriend's car getting dumped in her car?
So Your Honor, when he travels back and forth to my house or to her house, he takes all his stuff with him.
A whole backseat of a car full of stuff?
It was only a few bags. He's a team boy. He has football. So she's making it sound like, oh, his whole life just went with him.
Oh my God.
All right. So guys, I'm done. We're done. The arguments are done.
Can I get a final big say?
No, you do not. I'm telling you both, you're both done.
I want to say,
I've heard enough. I've heard enough. No, you're done. You're both done. I don't care.
That's why I take care of the kids all day long.
Stop, man. Guys, guess what? I'm going to make a point to both of you. Appearing via Zoom is a privilege, not a right. If you don't listen to me, I'm going to revoke the ability to appear per Zoom, and you're going to have to come down to the courthouse, park your car, and come into my courtroom where I have a deputy. And then you guys can't just yell at each other and stuff and know that you're not in the court, because you'll be sitting in front of me with the deputy. So I'll revoke your ability to have remote hearings and make you come in person if you don't listen to me. That's how it works. So when I say no, I've heard enough. You guys have been talking, and I've heard it all 5 times. So no more. I got a lot of hearings today and I've heard enough. So I'm going to send you guys to a facilitator to try to work out your schedule with all 3 children. If not, you're going to go to a formal hearing where you can present witnesses and evidence and testimony. But there is still a supporter. I'm going to refer this to the enforcement department to see if they can, ma'am, give you some relief. Because you have 15,000 owed to you right now. So my recommendation is the matters of parenting time with all 3 children is referred for facilitation with the custody department. If facilitation is unsuccessful, it should be referred for evidentiary hearing. And 3, it is referred to the enforcement department for enforcement. All right, have a good day. You both have 21 days to object.
Do we get something in the mail, or how does that work?
Are you okay getting it emailed?
Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't matter.
We're gonna email you a copy by the order and objection period by the end of the day, and I'm gonna forward this to the enforcement department to enforce. You say you're not getting help. He owes you 15,000. It's charging $1,050 a month. He hasn't paid for months. I'm gonna, if you, whether you want it or not, I'm sending it to the enforcement department.
It's not
to
a
enforce
problem.
on
I
his
just wanted
child
to
support
tell you one
obligation.
thing about the address situation. Your
Okay.
Honor, that's why I just kept asking you, could I speak? But the school mailed his last report card to the 555 address. It came back returned saying house boarded up. That's why
Okay,
he didn't enroll in the
okay.
school. I did because I had to go and
Okay,
fill
I
out
don't,
papers
ma'am.
for the correct address.
Okay, I gotta use the address that a party tells me they live at.
Yeah.
I gotta use the address he says. All right. All
It's
right,
been
you guys have
going on for
21
20
days to object.
years.
Okay, if no one
20
objects within
years.
21 days, this remains the order of the court. Have a good day. Dear Lord. All right, I want to thank you both for appearing via Zoom today. As always, please realize this is a legal proceeding, just as if you guys were both here in present. Ms. Brokar, Mr. Wright, any questions regarding that this is a legal proceeding today?
No question.
Ma'am, this is your motion regarding parenting time, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys entered into an order on August 18, 2023. Is your most recent parenting time, and may have provided you parenting time on Saturdays from 2 to 8, Wednesdays from 4 to 8, and alternate Sundays from noon to 6. Does that sound like the current order right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, and so ma'am, if you want to explain to me what you're requesting your motion and why you think the court should grant your request, and then Mr. Wright will give you a full opportunity to respond, okay?
Okay.
All right,
Well,
so ma'am, if you want to go ahead.
I'm supposed to be moving into my new place October 10th.
Okay. And what are you requesting from the court?
I'm trying to do the overnight visitations like every other week.
Okay, and what are the current ages of the children, their names and ages?
9 and 10, Nevaeh's 10, Brandon's 9.
Okay. So in your motion, ma'am, you say resources regarding incorrigible behavior, need more parenting time, seek counseling, therapy due to recent attack by daughter and father did nothing but laugh.
Yep.
You want to tell me about that?
Yeah. I want my daughter to be, I want you guys to request my daughter go to some type of therapy. I believe that both of my kids need some type of therapy from the behavior issues that they've been having lately. My daughter had physically attacked me, and then when I called Brandon and told him, he thought it was funny. He has been condoning their bad behavior every time they come over my house and spend time with me. It's like it's not enough time, and they're acting out of character. And something.
So what are the things that so you say your daughter is attacking me with objects in your motion? What does that mean?
She literally hit me with her fist.
Okay. And when did that occur?
It happened on the 16th of September, I believe I had put that on there.
Okay, so just in the last couple of weeks. And how about your other child? Okay.
No, he has bad behavior such as telling me I'm not his mom, he doesn't gotta listen to me, that he hates me. It's like they're acting like that is because they're being told to act like that. And it's not okay. They're getting told that it's okay.
I think Mr. Wright is
to act
actively
like that.
telling the children to misbehave. Okay, and Mr. Wright, what's your response? She's saying you're encouraging the children to misbehave
none of
at
that.
her house.
None of that is true. They act like normal kids. What happened was Sarah wanted to be a friend instead of being a mom. So now it's all catching up to her. Pretty much they have she wants them to be a friend, with her, and is now catching up pretty much, and they're not listening.
But what does that mean? So obviously your children don't act out physically against you, correct?
Well, no, they don't act like that with me. They have manners. They only seem to.
So
I
why
guess,
why do you
act like
think
that
they're
with her.
acting out potentially physically your daughter with her mom and hitting her mom or
Well,
striking her mom?
when I asked Nevaeh, she told me that Sarah took her phone out of her hand. She snatched it out of her hand and she threw it on the floor, and she threw Nevaeh on the bed and proceeded to choke her. So that's what Nevaeh told me. So I'm not really sure where did all of this other stuff, them being disrespectful, come from.
So, ma'am, do you want to respond? He claims that you choked your daughter.
Yeah,
Put your hands around her neck.
that's not true. That is not true. I did grab her phone because Junior gave me the phone and told me to look at the phone because my name in her phone is Sarah instead of Mom. So my son gave me the phone, and then when she kept asking for the phone back, she was screaming and proceeding to hit me, saying, "Give me my phone, give me my phone, give me my phone." So after she hit me, yes, I did put her up and put her on the bed. I said, "You will not put your hands on me like that."
Did you grab her by the neck?
No, I did not. And that's the same thing that he said and made a report and called CPS and said that his father also choked him and tried to touch him in a inappropriate way, which is not true. My kids need to know the difference between somebody disciplining them and telling them you cannot act like this and you cannot do this, instead of saying, "Hey, he did this because I was mad." That's what my son said. He said the reason why he lied on his grandfather is because he was mad and he don't like the way that he tried to discipline him. So he lied. And Brandon's taking it to a further extent, which it does not need to be. And if something needs to be done about it, somebody needs to get a lie detector test, because that could potentially put somebody in jail and harm somebody, especially having the kids being forced to say that somebody did something and they didn't.
So was that your father or Mr. Wright's father?
It's Mr. Wright's father. I am his caregiver.
Okay. All right. So are the kids currently in any form of counseling right now?
Well, no, not right now. And I just want to say that the police report that I made, it was accurate. It was true. It was true statements. He talked with the police officer. He said that Steve put his hands around his neck and he proceeded to sit him down by his neck and he choked him. So that's the reason why I put in the
When do you allege that happened?
That happened on the 20. That happened on the 22nd. The 22nd of September.
So you call your dad Steve by his first name?
Yes, that's what I call him.
And you don't have a good relationship with him?
Well, I don't have well, we have a relationship. It's just that I haven't seen him in a while. He's an alcoholic. He's been drinking for years. He never was around when I was.
So you assert within a week of period of,
I'm sorry.
So you assert within a week both Ms. Brokaw and your father separately choked one of your children. Her, your daughter, and your dad, your son.
Yeah, so basically it's like they're teaming up pretty much.
You're sick.
Has CPS currently investigating right now?
Yes, there's an open case right now with CPS, and also I have an open case with the detective as well.
Has your son or daughter ever been known to not tell the truth in the past, like exaggerate or make up stories, or?
No, no, and I normally know if they, lying or not, but in this case, they're not lying. They're not lying. I mean, he told the cop, he told me, and he looked like he was telling the truth. He said that he choked him, and because he didn't sit down in time, he choked him.
Your dad told the cops that he choked him?
No, my son told
and admitted it?
Okay. No, they haven't. I don't know.
Did either one of these children have marks on their necks when these alleged incidents happened?
No, when I looked at it, I didn't see any. However, he did choke him.
Well, your son says that.
Right. And right now they're investigating it right now, the detective.
And what about, have you also made allegations against Ms. Brokaw, CPS investigating that as well?
With CPS, yes. No, I never told them about.
Oh, well, why not tell them about that one too?
About what?
Well, if you're saying she choked your daughter and your dad choked your son, why wouldn't you report them both?
Well, I only told them about the incident with my son. Now, Nevaeh just brought this up to me 3-4 days ago about her choking her, because I asked her about the situation of her taking her phone and throwing it on the floor. And Nevaeh said that she threw her on the bed. She was mad and she threw her on the bed and she choked her. That's what she stated to me.
Okay.
Hello?
This is like the second
Yeah,
incident.
ma'am, can you, just a second, ma'am, can you hear us?
Everything cut out. I did not hear nothing. I just got dialed back in.
He's just reiterating that there's currently an open investigation with CPS because he alleges you choked your daughter and his dad, the grandfather, choked your son. And you don't believe either one of those things happened? And when's the last time CPS was at your house?
Well, CPS is going to be visiting.
Okay.
CPS is going to be visiting on the 5th of this week, which is Thursday.
Okay. And have you guys, and guys, I have to ask this of everybody, have you two ever had a history of violence between the two of you?
No.
Yes.
I've
Okay,
never had any history. I'm not sure what are you saying yes for.
Yes, you have. Yes, there was a PPO
What'd
against you back in 2013. Yes, you have.
Oh, when you
Stop
lied?
lying.
That was when you lied.
Guys, stop. Do not
Stop
talk to
lying.
each other. Talk to me, not to each other. So, ma'am, why I ask that is I usually, when it comes to parenting time disputes, send you to a mediator. But I can't force you to do that if you feel intimidated by the other party or have alleged a past history of domestic violence, unless you think that would be beneficial. It would be via Zoom. Do you think it would be?
False claims and lies that he's lying just to try to stop me from getting my kids. Like, why does every time when I try to make a step ahead, you want to call CPS? They're miserable.
So, ma'am, talk to me. I'm asking the question now. Don't talk to him. Talk to me. Do you think it would be beneficial that you could freely express yourself to a mediator to try to work out an agreement?
Yeah.
So you're not afraid. You feel you could participate in that. It would be via Zoom, but you think you would want to participate? That would be helpful.
What exactly is a mediator, though?
You sit down and they try to work out. They'll tell you based on the law and their conversations with you what they think is a reasonable resolution. If you don't agree, they don't have binding power, and then you proceed to another hearing with a referee. It's they sit down and walk out of there, and then you proceed to the hearing at a different day with the referee. But they can. It's a way if you don't have attorneys, they'll explain the parenting time laws, how they affect your case, and what they think with their years of experience or all masters in social work, what they feel is a good resolution of your dispute. If you don't agree, then you walk out and you proceed to a further hearing. It's usually better. It usually helps. It would help. It would take place in a couple weeks.
Okay. I'm just tired of going back and forth through all this constantly, nonstop stuff. It's just getting ridiculous. I have a 8-month-old child right here that I take care of every single day, and now I'm being labeled as a bad mom just because he doesn't want me to have my children.
Well, that's why you guys meet with the facilitator and the investigators for them to see if they say, nope, that's not true. Yes, it is. And they'll give you their thoughts. Okay. So guys, I'm going to do a recommendation. You both will have 21 days to object. If no one objects within 21 days, this remains the order of the court. Objecting is your right under the law. Add an objection here. The Honorable Terry Lynn Dennings will decide if she wants to uphold my order or change all or part of it, and her decision as the judge is the final say. So I'm going to say 1, the matter of parenting time is referred for facilitation with a friend of the court custody department. All the past the DV has been alleged. Both parties would like to participate. If facilitation is unsuccessful, the matter shall proceed to referee evidentiary hearing. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
I have another question, though, about my request that I had asked for my children to have some type of therapy. Can that be done?
I'm going to say that if either party has counseling as a benefit of employment, the children shall participate in counseling with a counselor covered by one of the parties' insurance. You don't have insurance, it gets really expensive. You can try to look for Easter Seals or United Way or something. If either one of you has insurance that pays for it, you got to do that. Okay, then guys, you should mutually agree to the therapist. If not, guys, Medicaid will send you to where you should go, but I'm an advocate of therapy, so you guys are welcome to put the kids in therapy. You should agree to where they go before you start up the therapy, okay? So the children shall participate in therapy. The children shall participate in therapy with a medical professional covered by one of your insurance. And guys, you're gonna have 21 days. I'm gonna take a brief recess, 1 second. All right, so guys, sorry about that. We're gonna email you a copy of this order and the objection procedure. You both have 21 days to object. If no one objects within 21 days, this remains the order of the court.